Good day, everyone. Um, Again, I am Maria Albina Embachitsa, registered criminologist, your instructor here in the subject General Chemistry, which is an organic one. Now, in this lecture video, we will be talking about its introduction, most especially its relationship to criminology, which will be our focus here. And later on, we will be talking about the different branches of general chemistry, its definition, its examples, and uses. So, to start with, let me now give you the broad introduction to general chemistry. Now, chemistry is the investigation of matter and the changes it can undergo, as what I have said. When you're going to put that in your mind and when you're going to visualize it, you're gonna be looking for things that had happened, na yung nangyari, or what might be the changes to certain things that had happened to a certain thing. No? Matter which can be described as physical substances that occupy space and have mass is composed of various combinations of the chemical elements. Um, this is also the review of general chemistry, which includes an overview of atomic structure, atomic electron configurations, the periodic table, chemical bonds, valence, bond theory, chemical reaction types, reaction kinetics, and the equilibrium constant. Ang focus natin dito is ang chemistry kasi is all about a chemical species somehow that tend to interact with each other. Okay? Yan ang focus ng chemistry. Uh, tend to interact with each other through a chemical bond. So it is important to note that the interaction between them, the matter and energy, are also studied in the field of chemistry. Now, let me just insert no. The ancient Egyptians before is actually the first one to identify, study, and apply the principles of chemistry. How? Kasi nalaman nila by that time, those times, that they can extract metal from ores, make alcoholic beverages, glaze pottery, yan, turn fat into soap, and many, many more. Um, Now let's talk about matter. Okay, let me just underline it. Matter. We're going to talk about basically matter here, about general chemistry. Now, chemistry is the study of matter. We all know that, and how we can change matter chemically and physically. Now, what is matter? Matter is everything around us that has mass and volume. Anything, your cup of coffee, your coffee itself, that's a matter. Matter can be any phase, solid, liquid, or gas. In this unit, we explore the properties, phases, and how we measure matter. Okay? We will be talking here about atoms, the atomic structure. Now, atom is the basic unit of matter, diba? And serves as our starting point for the study of chemistry, actually. And there's so many of it. And now we are talking about here specifically organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is one of the branches of general chemistry. Why are we focused more in organic? Okay, because there are actually 5 general branches or branches of general chemistry: organic, inorganic, analytical, and others. Now, we are focusing here more on organic chemistry because in the field of criminology, or we are going to be more into studying the structures, the properties, the compositions, the reactions and preparations. Remember the example that I gave you of carbon containing compounds and so many more. Most organic compounds contain carbon and hydrogen, but they may also include any number of other elements, for example, nitrogen, oxygen, halogen, phosphorus, silicon, and sulfur. And now let's talk about the relationship of chemistry to criminology. Actually, upon discussing this, or as we talk about this, it's going to extract the importance. Why do we study chemistry? What is its importance, or what is its um, uses in the world of criminology? Now, criminology chemistry is using chemistry to explain criminal behavior. An example of chemistry in criminology is a study that uses the brain chemistry of people who commit crimes to find a correlation that may be linked to why they commit the crime. Okay? Now there's another one. Here's another one, forensic chemistry. Forensic chemistry is using chemistry to solve individual crimes. And when we talk about solving individual crimes, this is very, very broad because we are using different kinds of forensics in solving crimes. We call it before criminalistics. No. Um, Criminalistics, it is defined as the application of scientific methods to the recognition, the collection, pagkuha, identification, pag-identify, and comparison of physical evidence generated by criminal or illegal civil activity. It also, ang criminalistics also involves the reconstruction of such events. Nagagawa niyang ma-reconstruct or on what are the sequence of the events by evaluation of the physical evidences and crime. Now, forensic chemistry is the analytic study of substances that could easily be misidentified or confused, and finding their identity. Forensic chemists analyze the physical and chemical properties of different materials in order to identify them correctly, where one or more materials may have similar properties. Now, here are the industries that hires organic chemists. Okay, may tinatawag tayong organic chemists. Then, this is actually the basic reason why our general chemistry here focuses really more on organic chemistry, because this is what they do. Industries that hire organic chemists. Biotechnology. Now, virtually all biotechnology or biotech products are the result of organic chemistry. Biotech involves using living organisms and bioprocesses to create or modify products for a specific use. For example, a biotech company might produce seeds for crops and are disease resistant, or plants that are drought resistant. Common employment areas in biotechnology includes the healthcare. Why healthcare? Because one of the healthcare, crop production and agriculture, non-food uses of crops, consumers products, for example, biodegradable plastics, vegetable oil, yeah, environmental sector, or biofuels. Examples of biotechnology, to make it more easier to apprehend, no? DNA profiling, yeah. DNA cloning. Pag sinabi natin DNA profiling, this is for further information to see the article DNA profiling. DNA cloning, um, is the process of making multiple identical copies of particular piece of DNA. Yan. Consumer products. Most consumer products we use involve organic chemistry. Take the cosmetics industry as an example. Yan. Organic chemistry examines how the skin responds to a metabolic and environmental factors, and chemists formulate products accordingly that will be based on the reaction or the response of the skin. And because of that, the chemist will now have basis on how to make or formulate products accordingly. Other examples of everyday products that involve organic chemistry include soaps, plastic goods, perfume, coal, and food additives. Next, organic industrial chemistry. Crucial to modern world economics, organic industrial chemistry focuses on converting raw materials. Yan. Galing tayo dyan. Okay? For example, oil, natural gas. Yan. Water, metals, and minerals into consumers and industrial products. Today, organic industrial chemistry is based mainly on petroleum and natural gas, because these are finite raw materials. A lot of industry focus is uh, on learning how to convert renewable resources into industrial organic chemicals. Yan. That's how we understand industry industry sa organic industrial chemistry. Yung gamit niya, anong mga napuproduce dyan, anong mga nagagawa dyan. A lot more examples that we can use here in organic industrial chemistry are rubber and plastic products, textiles and apparel, yan, petroleum refining is what I've said. Yan. Yan, major organic industrial chemistry sectors include, as what I have said kanina, textiles and apparel, petroleum refining, yan. Petroleum, and this is the largest volume petroleum products, which are the fuel and gasoline. Petroleum is also the raw material for many chemical products, for example, from pharmaceuticals, solvents, fertilizers, pesticides, and plastics. The petroleum industries are usually divided into three major components: the upstream, which is more on the exploration and production; midstream, the transportation; downstream, the refining crude oil, processing and purifying natural gas, creating petrochemicals. So may process siya. Next, pharmaceutical. So from the word itself, it's more on, or we are going to talk and speak here more on, like antibiotics, yan, vaccines, human blood plasma fractions, and steroid hormones. Those are just a very few other important pharmaceuticals manufactured from natural substances. Actually, we can include here vitamins, which were formerly obtained from natural sources and now are often made in the laboratory. Now let's talk about this. Pharmaceutical. The pharmaceutical industry develops, produces, and markets drugs used as medications for humans or animals. Some pharmaceutical companies deal in brand name. For example, has a trade name and can be produced and sold only by the company holding the patent, and or generic, for example, chemical equivalent, lower cost version of the brand name drug. Medications and medical devices, kasali yan dyan sa pharmaceutical. Agents that act on diseases without chemical interaction with the body. Pharmaceuticals, brand name and generic. The medical devices are subject to many country-specific laws and regulations regarding patenting, testing, safety assurance, efficacy monitoring, and marketing. Now let's talk about a little bit, talk about the history of forensic chemistry. Poisons were employed by early Egyptians and ancient Greeks and Romans. Democritus was probably the first chemist to study poisons. Siya po si Democritus. Full name niya is, actually hindi siya full name, but ang Greek name niya is Anokpitok Democritus. Pero ang name na Democritus is the only name that has survived in the historical records. So siya ang kauna-unahang, most probably the very first chemist to study poisons, and he communicated some of his findings to Hippocrates. Poisons were used both for murder and as a means of execution, because one of the, in history, in ancient times, no, remember the code of the Kalanso code, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, that when you kill someone, you will also be killed, that when you rape or robbed someone, or nanakawan, kukuhanan ka rin ng gamit. And ancient mode of giving penalty was, this one, by administering poison to the people responsible behind the crime. Now, the philosopher Socrates was condemned to death by drinking hemlock. Hemlock is a kind of poison. Ancient Roman civilization had laws against poisoning. In 82 BCE, before the development of systematic scientific criminal investigation, guilt was determined largely by circumstantial evidences, and hearsay, which is in today's generation, hindi po yan enough. Actually, hearsay right now in court, even here in the Philippines, is inadmissible as long as unless otherwise hearsays are corroborated by or corroborated with documents or evidences that will um, best support what you are um, telling. Arsenic was a popular poison. Arsenic was a popular poison. In Roman times, it was referred to as inheritance powder in early France. The Blandy trial of 1752 was the first instance of an actual chemical test poison. So that was during 1752. And the Marsh test developed in 1836, which was the very first reliable analysis that could show scientifically that arsenic was present in the body of the victim. So do not forget, okay, that um, it was Democritus that was probably the first chemist. That was actually the first chemist to study poisons. Yeah, who is Socrates? What's hemlock? So that's for this slide. Next, actually, we're not gonna talk more about this because this is a different subject. But this is a subject where in general chemistry, organic chemistry is a prerequisite before you can enroll this. But I just wanna give you an idea on saan kayo papunta sa field ng or in this aspect ng subjects niyo. Now, every chemist is schooled in general, organic, and analytical chemistry, but forensic chemists also specialize in specific areas of expertise. For example, an inorganic chemist may examine traces of dust by using microchemistry to identify the chemical compositions of tiny particles. Another chemist might employ thin layer chromatography during the analysis of forensic scientists, examine evidence from crime scenes in an effort to solve crimes. These scientists is removing a piece of blood-stained material gathered at the crime scene for DNA testing. The physical contact between a suspect and a victim, excuse me, vehicle or a crime scene during the commission of a crime can and often does result in the transfer of materials such as blood, cement, saliva, hair fibers, paint, plastic, and adhesives. Also, in this in the investigation of fires, the analysis of fire debris samples for the identification of ignitable liquids is necessary to help determine the cause and origin of the fire. Nalalaman din nila yan. Okay? Actually, um, the usual designation or designation of criminologist in the BFP are usually actually the criminologist. Linya siya ng criminology. But not all naman. Meron din namang iba. The forensic chemistry section of the crime laboratory is responsible for the examination, identification, and or comparison of these types of materials which may be present at the crime scene, on the victim and suspect, clothing articles, vehicle, and so many evidences. So based on this introduction that I gave you about forensic chemistry, I hope you can visualize no, the purpose. Actually, it can give you an emphasis on the importance of the study of chemistry that correlates it no, into helping the world of criminology solve crimes. So that's all for this slide. Thank you and study well. God bless.